Today, I've got a pretty fascinating paper to unpack with you all. It's called The Eclipse of the Mind, How Modern Minds Lost Reality, Noetic Anthropology, written by S.C. Sayles. So, what's this noetic eclipse that Sayles is talking about? That's really the big question in the paper. And wow, is it a big one? Sayles argues that modern culture isn't suffering from a lack of brain power or information or analytic skill. Instead, we're enduring a sort of spiritual or mental blackout, a darkening of our deepest ability to encounter and actually inhabit reality in a meaningful way. It's not so much that we know less, but that somehow, somewhere, we stopped really knowing, if that makes sense. I think most of us, at least sometimes, have felt a kind of detachment or unreality, right? Like we're looking at life through a foggy window or a screen. Now, according to Sayles, this whole eclipse of the mind isn't just a bad mood or an individual problem. It's rooted in how our culture understands the mind itself. He traces, over 17 detailed chapters, a historical journey. Our minds, created, he says, to receive and participate in truth, have become cut off from their natural orientation. Instead of dwelling in a reality that's given and meaningful, we've drifted into a world of autonomy, constant reinterpretation, and digital simulation. It's like you do you on steroids, but at a certain point, we kind of lose track of what reality even is. So, digging into the core structure of the paper, Sayles divides his argument into 4 main parts. The first part is almost like a philosophical anatomy lesson. What is the mind for, anyway? Drawing from classical Christian thought, especially the idea of the logos, the rational order underlying the universe. Sayles says the mind is meant to participate in this order, not invent it. There's something, honestly, pretty countercultural about that. It's not about creating your truth, but about receiving reality as it really is. That's a big shift from how a lot of us are encouraged to think these days, huh? Then, part 2, he retraces key steps in Western philosophy and history, from materialism to, you guessed it, postmodernism. He talks about how these big picture shifts have over centuries chipped away at meaning itself, until all that's left is this sense of fragmentation and confusion. He's not subtle. Sayles sees a kind of crisis here, not just culturally, but with how we actually exist as thinking beings. Now, part 3 in the book is, maybe the spiciest. Sayles tries to unmask the mechanisms of deception, and here's a new term he introduces: the unlie. That's when truth itself is twisted and weaponized against itself, so that what appears illuminating, like seemingly true, actually undermines and erodes deeper meaning. He argues that digital technologies, reinterpretations, and even certain ideologies act as false lights. They seem to bring illumination, but actually obscure. This, according to Sayles, installs counterfeit realities in our minds. Finally, in part 4, Sayles lays out what he believes is a path to restoration. For him, the key is returning to what he calls metaphysical authority, a humble, receptive stance before ultimate truth, the logos. In plain English, that means rediscovering the mind's original posture, not as a creator of reality, but as someone who receives, responds, and submits to the truth that undergirds reality. He sees regeneration, a spiritual renewal, as the only real escape from the eclipse. Sayles closes his argument by reminding the reader that the mind's real crisis is ontological, not just intellectual. It's not only about better arguments, but about remembering how to actually receive, how to open up to truth outside ourselves. Sayles insists that the only way out of confusion and fragmentation is a return to this receptive, illuminated posture under the light he calls the logos. So, what does all this mean for you, the listener? Well, regardless of your take, I think it's an invitation to pause and reflect. Are we truly encountering reality as it is? Or just drifting through approximations and simulations? Where do we find our orientation, our clarity,